Have you ever had a brilliant idea just stuck inside you? You're too afraid or maybe just too distracted to actually bring it to life. Well, today's story is all about the Carter family, who stumbled into this incredible adventure in probably the last place you'd ever expect.
Yep, you heard that right. It all kicks off on a Saturday morning with a creaky attic ladder and a task the whole family was dreading. Attic cleaning day. Just a totally simple, boring chore that somehow ends up changing absolutely everything for them.
And this whole adventure really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if the real spark for our greatest ideas isn't hiding in some high-tech lab or a fancy boardroom, but it's actually hidden in plain sight, just waiting for us to find it? Okay, so let's dive right in. Our story starts with the Carter family, who are, let's be honest, pretty reluctantly heading up to their attic. They have no idea that they're about to start this amazing journey. So let's meet our young innovators. First, we've got 14-year-old Zoe. She loves coding, but she's completely sidetracked by social media and, just fitting in. Then there's her brother, 11-year-old Liam. He's this aspiring inventor, but his creativity is always getting sucked away by video games. Sound a little familiar? So while they're digging through all these old toys and photo albums, they find this book, this guide. And this is the catalyst, right? It's the spark that takes them from a day of chores to a full-blown 21-day journey of discovery, all led by this forgotten book. But the guide's first challenge for them? It's a big one. It's that fear of being different, That fear of being judged for what you're passionate about. It's like this monster that stops so many great ideas before they even get a chance to start. And the book actually gives this monster a name, Groupthink. It's that really powerful pressure to just go along with the crowd, to hide the parts of you that don't quite fit in. And for an innovator, that's like creative poison. It just drains away your unique power. And Zoe's fear here is just so real, so relatable. I mean, she has this awesome idea for an app, but just the thought of what her friends might say, of being labeled nerdy, it's holding her back completely. So, how do they fight back against this? Well, the guide gives them their very first tool, a super simple 3-step process to figure out their personal mission. It basically forces them to look past the fear and connect with something deeper, a real sense of purpose. And wow, the results are immediate and seriously powerful. Zoe's mission becomes, I create tech for learning, and Liam's is, I invent to make learning exciting. See, these aren't just hobbies anymore. They're these purpose-driven statements that give their passions real meaning and a clear direction. But look, fighting those external fears is only half the battle. Next up, the Carters have to conquer their internal distractions. They have to find their why, that core motivation that's strong enough to pull them away from their screens and get them focused on their projects. To get there, the guide introduces a technique it calls the mirror moment. And the idea behind it is actually surprisingly simple. Just 10 minutes of quiet. That's it. No phones, no games, just dedicated time to look inward and really understand what's driving you. In this simple reflection, it leads to this huge transformation. Suddenly, Zoe's fear of being called a nerd is replaced by her real why. She wants to make coding fun for other kids. And Liam's fear of not being smart enough? It's totally overshadowed by his desire to help his friend Tim. This is that intrinsic motivation that really fuels true innovation. So just as they're starting to find their groove, a whole new layer gets added to their journey. A mystery starts to unfold, revealing the secret legacy left behind by their grandpa Joe, who, it turns out, was an inventor himself. And the mystery just gets deeper and deeper with every step. First, it starts with a mechanical bird that suddenly chirps to life in the attic. Then a map delivered by a stray dog leads them to a hidden workshop. Before they know it, they found a secret journal and a chest full of patents and tools. It's almost like Grandpa Joe is guiding them from the past. And in his journal, they discover something absolutely astonishing. Grandpa Joe faced the exact same fears. Back in the 1970s, people called his ideas impractical. Today, the kids are worried about being called nerdy. It's the same struggle against groupthink, just happening decades apart. And their mom, Maya, she just sums it up perfectly. This wasn't just some treasure hunt. It was a message from their grandfather, a real lesson in courage, letting them know that it's not just okay to be different. For an innovator, it's essential. Okay, so now they're fueled by this newfound purpose and their grandfather's legacy. The kids are ready for the story's climax. They decide to enter the Young Innovators Fair. It's finally time to put all of these lessons to the test. Armed with their why, their new missions, and a box of Grandpa Joe's old gears, Zoe and Liam get to work. They start turning their ideas, CodeQuest and Math Blaster, from just sketches in a notebook into real working prototypes right there in their garage.
And get this, they don't just participate, they totally crush it. Zoe's app, CodeQuest, wins the award for Most Creative Tech, and Liam's invention, Math Blaster, wins for Best Prototype. It's this huge validation of all their hard work and all that courage they found.
But the real prize? That's the final surprise. A plaque, hidden away by Grandpa Joe years ago, gets delivered to them at the fair. It's a direct message to his innovators, a final emotional payoff, confirming that they've fulfilled his legacy. It's amazing. So, what can we all learn from the Carters' incredible adventure? Let's break their journey down into an actionable toolkit that any aspiring innovator out there can use right now.
Okay, first, fight that groupthink by finding your mission. Second, discover your why through some quiet reflection to overcome all those distractions. Make sure you build a no-judgment zone where you can share ideas safely. Learn from the people who came before you, and always, always be open to unexpected allies, whether they're old journals or even a stray dog with a map.
The Carters' amazing journey began with a dusty, boring chore, which just proves the spark of innovation can be found literally anywhere. Their story shows us that your journey is also out there, just waiting. So the only question left is, where will yours begin?